A new shared LR is coming, but what does this mean for the global timeline? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are discussing the teaser for the next upcoming LR on both JP and Global Dokkan, yet another synced celebration, and what this means for the future of Global Dokkan battle as we approach a synced game with the Japanese version. So let's go ahead, let's hop in, let's talk about some of the first things that are going to be coming up for the rest of the month. So here in just a couple of days, by the 14th, we will be getting whatever this part 2 banner unit ends up being, right? We're assuming it's a Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. This will be a double rates Carnival LR banner, more than likely, based on previous trends. After this banner, by Christmas time, we should be seeing this banner right here, the Tanabata Banner. The LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku will make his return, along with the 8-year anniversary LRs, which will be your first opportunity to pick them up with red coins. This banner, based on previous years, should be dropping here on the 25th, right? Because we didn't get it on the 5th like last year, or on the 14th like years prior. So that means we're probably following the schedule of it dropping on the 25th. Now, before that, even though, if we follow last year's schedule, by the end of the year, probably around the 28th or 29th, we should also have the, where is it here? Right here, these guys. We should be getting the shared Dokkan Fest LRs or Dokkan Fest TURs for the New Year's celebration. We are more than likely going to be sharing the New Year's celebration, as Dokkan doesn't typically go back after we begin sharing a celebration, right? Look at Golden Week. Once we started sharing that celebration, it hasn't changed. We've shared it every year since then. So it's pretty safe to assume, especially now that we've had, what, 4 shared celebrations in a row since Worldwide Celebration. So there's a good chance this is going to happen. But that does leave a bunch of holes to fill in terms of missing units for global, because after all, because of the shift with Heroes and putting full power of Super Saiyan 4 in November, we don't have a part 2 LR Omega to be slotted in anywhere now that we are getting a synced part 2. So if these guys end up being the January time frame, we're in for a lot of trouble in terms of what needs to happen in order to sync up. So let's go ahead, let's look at one last thing before we jump into the new year, right? When the new year begins, we will also get the New Year's Step Up. It's a pretty good banner that will lead all the way up to a guaranteed LR, probably up to Super Boo, but a lot of good stuff in between, right? You'll get a category Easy A yellow coin LR, probably one of the older generation ones, and then previous Dokkan Fest TURs. I'm going to make a full video breaking down how I think this is going to look this year here soon, maybe once we get past the banner of this next part 2, but I actually believe this year stands to be a very valuable banner, and I'll talk about why that is in a separate video, but they're probably going to add some stuff in here to entice you. But to add to that, moving to the new year, if we share the New Year's campaign, that means the timeline is pretty much full for all of January, right? We move into January like for last year, right? Last year's January, we got the Easy A's related to the celebration. We ended up getting a part 2 which brought the Golden Frieza, who got moved out. So I could very much see Omega slotting into this slot. The problem with that is Omega is a Carnival LR. I don't think they're going to slot a Carnival LR. February is usually the Carnival LR slot for Global. However, that might not be the case this year if we end up sharing the 9th anniversary in February with JP Dokkan. So they're going to have to figure out a place. This is the likely place for Omega, but him being a Carnival LR makes that also slightly unlikely. But that's not all we're missing, right? We're actually missing 3 Dokkan Fest celebrations. We're missing the Trunks, Super Trunks celebration. We are missing the Kid Gohan and Piccolo celebration, and the Int Android celebration and their part 2 LR, which is the Ribri Ann, right? So syncing 9th anniversary in February is going to be very difficult, knowing that we're missing these 3 celebrations. The Android celebration is a full part 1 and part 2 celebration. Gohan's is kind of a half celebration, but there's still some stuff in there that have to be moved around. Trunks, we've basically got everything from his celebration already, barring the EZA and a Super Battle Road. Otherwise, we've got everything from his celebration already. So what I think could happen here is we could end up seeing these 3 celebrations sort of squashed into one during the month of January or February, leading into Saiyan Day. Where Saiyan Day might actually end up, Saiyan Day in March might end up being the sinking point instead of anniversary. Anniversary might be too soon, knowing we're missing this many Dokkan Fests, right? So what they could do on global to make this work, to sync everything by Global's 9th anniversary, is to have the androids show up in February, give them a full celebration in February to kind of round this out. Since they do have a part 2 LR, we will end up getting Omega in January's part 2, right? With the Golden Frieza time slot for last year, and then in February, or I'm sorry, not February, March, what we should end up seeing is maybe a shared campaign for the Trunks and the Gohan and Piccolo. They could squash those 2 campaigns together, since they're both half campaigns leading into Saiyan Day, and Saiyan Day will be our next sync point. From that point forward, we can share every Dokkan Fest TUR moving forward until Global and JP hit Tanabata and the 9th anniversary. That would be the perfect syncing point for both versions, those 2 months, right? Global can share Tanabata and then lead into the anniversary, while JP gets their kind of second banner, which would bring back the anniversary units, so they can still kind of celebrate along with us. I mean, that's really one of the few ways to make this work, outside of another theory I have, which involves the Stepup Banner, which I'll have a whole separate video on that, because there's a lot to talk about and break down there. But it's also possible they could kind of toss, the 3 missing units onto the Step-Up Banner, make them one of the potential guarantees in the step 5, and then then we just share everything from that point forward, right? We'll be sharing January, we'll be sharing anniversary in February, and then, it becomes a non-issue. We are almost completely synced up at that point, and it's just a matter of getting, right, the actual events that come with these celebrations, which I think makes that second scenario less likely, but it is a possibility. So guys, that is everything that's coming. That's kind of how I think the global timeline is going to play out for the next couple of months, simply because, there's only so many ways they're going to be able to slice this cake to make things work and sync up as soon as possible. The less we are synced, right, and the more JP gets separate Dokkan Fests, the harder it is going to be to catch up the games. So, and the only way they're going to do it at some point is to combine 1 or 2 celebrations. And I think Trunks and Gohan celebration combined in February is the likely outcome to ensure that the games are synced up by at least Golden Week, if not by Tanabata and Global's 9th anniversary. So guys, that's it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know, what do you guys think is going to happen next? How do you think the next couple of months are going to play out for Global in order to see us sync? And when do you guys think we'll sync? I had initially thought in February for JP's anniversary. I would really like that to happen, but I mean, knowing what we're missing, I just don't see a way to make it work unless we don't share New Year's, and New Year's is used as a catch-up time for JP Dokkan. So guys, that's it for the video. If nothing else, thanks for watching, and aloha.